France passes a new bill allowing the police to remotely activate cameras on the citizens' phones. A lack of economically attractive men are to blame for a decline in the marriage rates, and the Toronto police are closing a bar at their headquarters. These are the weird stories for Wednesday on the Weird AF News podcast, the only daily weird news podcast in the entire universe. France passed a bill allowing the police to remotely turn on citizens' camera phones. Great. So they can just watch you. They just want to watch you just for a little bit. Oh, we just want to watch everybody drink wine. That's all. We want to watch our citizens and not to take a shower. Don't worry. You have nothing to worry about. It's totally innocent. It says here, amidst the ongoing protests in France, you guys have heard of these ongoing protests in France, the country has just passed a new bill that's going to allow the police to remotely access cameras, microphones, GPS, cell phones, other devices. Oh my. Sounds very authoritarian. Sounds very much like 1984. An Orwellian nightmare is coming to fruition. As reported by the media, this bill has been criticized by the French people as a, quote, snoopers charter that allows the police to snoop. It allows them unfettered access to the location of their citizens. Moreover, the police can activate the cameras and the microphones to take video and audio recordings of various suspects. The bill will reportedly only apply to suspects in crimes that are punishable by a minimum of 5 years in jail. Oh, this is how they get you. They start with that. No, it's just for real criminals, serious criminals. Not the rest of you guys. You don't have to worry about that. All right, guys, enough with the conspiracy theories. Just sign up for the National Digital ID like a good citizen. It says here they're only going to use it for organized crime. It says, only for organized crime, guys. The police can have access to the sound and image of a device. This concerns any connected device, telephone, speaker, microphone, computer, camera, computer system of a car, all without the knowledge of the person's concerned. But only if you're in organized crime, guys. Only if you're a real criminal, we're going to do that. Yeah, not regular people like the rest of you. Why would we do that? Come on now. You can trust us. We're the government. Now, there is a quote here from a French advocacy group called La Quadrature du Net, Le Quatre du Net, Le Quatre Lingerie. That's what I'm going to call it. They said, in view of the growing place of digital tools in our lives, accepting the very principle that they are transformed into police auxiliaries without our being aware, this poses a serious problem in our societies. Yes, I agree with this group that it does pose a very serious problem in societies. This bill comes after a time when the French government previously expanded police authority via technology in 2021, when the parliament passed a bill that would expand the French police force's ability to monitor all civilians using drones. French President Emmanuel Macron argued at that time that the bill was meant only to protect the police officers from increasingly violent protesters. And that's how they always try and frame it. Yeah, in other words, no, you don't have to worry about your own personal lives. It's just to protect our officers, guys. Come on. Now, as you know, last month, protests began in France over the death of a teenager who was shot and killed by police officers. Protests swept the country, demonstrators frequently clashing with the police. The passing of this bill comes as these protests have been raging for a few weeks. Macron also threatened to shut down social media platforms, as he claimed protesters were filming, posting, and organizing on such apps like Snapchat, TikTok, and Telegram. Yeah, this is concerning. Every government probably considers such things when they're under pressure. And if you give them an inch, they'll take a yard. It'll start here, and the next thing you know, you're looking at the kind of firewalls that you have in China, the kind of government-controlled technology and surveillance that you have in places like that. They're very authoritarian. We as citizens must always protect our technological device rights, in my opinion. Is that a phrase, device rights? Maybe I think I just made something up, guys. I'll be the new leader of this. Yes, I stand for device rights. As your next president of device rights, I pledge that everyone should be able to send a dick pic privately. Without the government looking at your dick pics. Those are your dick pics. Well, that is between you and the person that's getting that pic. And it should be private. A study says that the lack of economically attractive men is to blame for a decline in marriage rates. A shortage of economically attractive men could be to blame for the decline in marriage rates recently. The study was published in the Journal of Marriage and Family. They analyzed data collected on recent marriages, and they gathered this all as part of the American Community Survey's cumulative 5-year marriage statistics. Unlike previous studies, which looked into gender ratio discrepancies, researchers from Cornell University examined the specific socioeconomic characteristics that make a particular and a good one to match. They investigated this, so they found that researchers from the American Community Survey data, fake spouses and profile socioeconomic characteristics of hypothetical husbands when they compare with actual men track the differences. Researchers finding the estimated potential husbands at an average income is 58% higher than the actual amount of unmarried men. Fabricated husbands were 30% more likely to be employed than single men, 19% likely to have a big degree. The researchers stated many racial, ethnic minorities, specifically African American, were experiencing specifically low numbers of economically attractive potential mates. Additionally, women on both the low end and high end of the socioeconomic spectrum were found to face harder times finding economically compatible mates. Most women hope to marry with shortages of marriageable men with a stable job, good income. Make this increasingly difficult, especially current gig economy, the low-paying service jobs. Marriage still based on love, but it's fundamentally economics and the economics of the transactions. Many young men today have a little bit to bring into the marriage, especially young men. Women's educational levels is exceeding male suitors. There are 239,020 marriages between opposite sexes and couples in the 2015. Latest year, the figures were available for the drop out with 8300 degrees of 3.4% for the previous year. 2014, there was 2,474 marriages, according to the ONS. Some of the reasons of the day is 80 years ago, people got married in part because society expected them to get married. And Chris Sherwood said this is a chief executive of the relationship support each other relate. There's some societal pressures don't exist today. It's going to be celebrated. People have a greater choice about how they can perform marriages in the relationships. It's possible that people, prioritizing other things over the marriage. So education, starting a family, maybe want to buy a house, buy a car, buy a house, go travel and see the world. This would be a reason for the rising average over the age of marriages. He said the rising cost of marriages could be determined. The average wedding cost a lot of money. 32,275 pounds. Maybe the largest wedding website figure stands at all time up the previous year. And so there's an issue with the marriages, and make a try to find suitable jobs for the marriage rates and attractively men. Anyways, what do you guys think? Call the show, 646-450-2012. Do you agree that the lack of economically attractive men are to blame for their decline in these marriage rates, according to this study? Call the show and tell me your opinion on that. Do you want to create a podcast? Spotify's platform lets you easily make, record, and distribute a podcast and even earn money all in one place for free. It's called Spotify for Podcasters. Record and edit on your phone or your computer. Send it to Spotify and everywhere podcasts are heard. They even have video podcasting options as well. Spotify for Podcasters allows you to earn money with ads and subscriptions too. Best of all, it's free. Try it. Download Spotify for Podcasters or go to spotify.com/podcasters to get started. And good luck with your podcast. Good luck with your life, man. The Toronto police are closing a bar at the headquarters. A licensed, fully stocked bar inside a lounge for senior police officers at the Toronto Police Services headquarters is being closed. The decision comes after CBC Toronto reported a police officer entered the lounge hours before being charged with impaired driving, also known as drunk driving. The chief's office notified senior officers that the bar's liquor license would not be renewed. They have a liquor license in the police station. That's fabulous to know that. That's only in Canada, guys, would you see a liquor license in a bar inside a police headquarters, I'd imagine. The police say they don't link the closure to the bar with the impaired driving charges that were brought against this individual. Oh, okay, guys. I see. Okay, yeah, you're probably no relation whatsoever. Why would that be a relation? The Executive Officers Lounge is what it's called. Sounds lovely. It's like a great place to throw down a couple tall boys on your lunch break and then get out there and serve the citizens. Sounds like a great place to knock down a few shots and then go get behind the wheel of your police car, everybody. Whoo! The Toronto police. to protect and serve. Now, this is going into effect immediately. The liquor license was given to the Executive Officers Lounge back in 1989. They say moving forward, the service will apply for a special occasions permit should they decide to host an event where alcohol may be served in the lounge. A special occasions permit is required anytime liquor is offered for sale somewhere other than a licensed establishment. Now, regarding the incident that seems to have led to this, in April, an officer named Riaz Hussein entered the lounge about 3 hours before he crashed his service-issued SUV into another vehicle in Pickering, Ontario, and was charged with driving under the influence. It's unclear how long Hussein was in the Executive Officers Lounge and whether or not he drank in that room. Yeah, obviously he's drinking in the Officers Lounge where there's a liquor license. He's at the bar. He's obviously drinking. Well, the good thing is at least this bar is very close to the drunk tank, but you lost your opportunity to throw him in there, and he got behind the wheel, and now no more drinky on the clock for you guys. So sorry. We have a quote here from John Reed, who's the president of the Toronto Police Association. He says, it's always been a strong desire that command and senior officers lead by example in both their actions and accountability, We don't want you being a hoser out there, just try and keep it together, guys. We want you to keep it together out there, We don't want you, just keep it together. And there you have it. They're going to be closing the bars, I imagined, at these police stations all over Canada, as they probably should. And while you're at it, Canada, how about you let some Americans in that have a DUI in their past? I find this to be a very critical rule that you have at your border. Oh, so I can't come in because I had a DUI back in 2008, but all your police can booze it up on their lunch break and then drive around town? That's fair. Yay! Weird AF News. Yay! Hello, my friends and loyal listeners. Thanks for spending some time with the Weird AF News podcast, the only daily weird news podcast in the galaxy. And thanks for putting up with me and my quirky sense of humor and weird mood today. So I appreciate it. Highly caffeinated per usual, and maybe other things. Well, I'm not going to tell you what I did on my balcony before I recorded. That's between me and my Mary Jane. So, anyways, I got a nice email from Andrew. I believe he's in the UK. Yeah, he says cheers. So that's definitely someone in the UK. They love to say cheers, and they love to say brilliant. The email says, Sup Jonesy, as a fairly new listener to your podcast, I gotta say, loving your material, man. Both me and my partner check in daily and almost lose our spleens. Fantastic presentation, man. Listen, be careful. Don't lose your spleen. I'm just letting you guys know. I don't. Weird AF News nor Jonesy supports losing your spleen for any reason. They say you don't need it. That's why they take them out. But I imagine you kind of need it. So keep your spleen. Andrew says, I digress, Jonesy. I had a very weird happening, and I wondered if you had any advice. Okay, he says, I found a cute mini monster lounging around in the pool at the back of my house. Looked kind of dangerous, so I didn't go near it. Instead, I tried to report it, but you know what happened? It was like talking to a brick wall. Zero interest. So thought I'd send you a picture to see if you can help identify this creature. Because I know you know about these things. Cheers, bro. Andy in the UK. Andy sent me an amazing photo of an alligator that he generated using AI, I believe. It's pretty cool. He says he didn't find this picture, he made it, so feel free to use it if you'd like, Jonesy. It looks like it was made by what's that AI photo generation project, that website. I can't remember, but everyone's talking about it. My brain ain't working. Andrew also wrote, P.S. My partner Sandra said to shout you a big hi. So want to give a big hi to Sandra and Andy in the UK. Sounds like amazing people. People I could have a nice few pints, or maybe like 14 pints I could probably have with these lovely individuals. Also got a nice review on the podcast on Amazon from the Cowleys. Cauleys. The Cowleys or the Cowleys. or the Kayleys. I hope I say it correct. I do my best, guys. Forgive me. 5 stars from this lovely family. And they wrote, delightfully absurd, not to be confused with magically delicious. Really cool title. Host Jonesy digs up quirky stuff and serves it with a side of comedy in Weird AF News, a weekday podcast. It's like hanging out with a funny friend who's in a closet, sharing in the joy of offbeat tales. It's also a great way to escape from the real news for a little bit. Some jokes might not hit the mark for everybody, but I find Jonesy adorable and his mispronunciations are quite charming. It's an incredibly entertaining podcast that's definitely worth a listen. So if you're in the mood for some laughter and quirkiness, give Weird AF News with Jonesy a shot. I start my day with NPR and follow up that doom and gloom with the Weird AF News for a chuckle to get the day off on a better foot. Jonesy always delivers delightful absurdity. So, and then this person left their handle, and it looks to me like they're a writer. I mean, I could have guessed you were a writer. This is just a well-articulated review of the podcast with some big vocab words in there. So shout out to the Cowleys. This is a great review. I love this stuff. I've got 2 reviews in a row that were 5 stars, man. Wow, I must be doing something not wrong. Or either that people are in a good mood. You know, you think with all this heat everywhere, people would be aggravated. I'd get 1-star reviews, but no, I'm getting some 5 stars. Pretty sweet, man. Appreciate that. Just a couple other things, and I'll let you go. If you want to support the podcast, go to weirdafnews.com. You can buy Jonesy a coffee or join the Patreon, or you can just join the Patreon by downloading the app and then doing a search for Weird AF News. And, you know, it's like the Patreon's like buying Jonesy a cup of coffee every month. And then you get access to extra weird content that I put into the Patreon. Mostly it's video based, a lot of weird, quirky stuff I'm putting in there. Stuff that I like, and my patrons seem to enjoy it as well. So join the club. Join the Patreon. You can go to patreon.com/weirdafnews as well. Also want to let you know that I'm going up to the Bay this weekend. I think I mentioned that yesterday on the podcast, but I'm doing many shows in San Francisco specifically and Oakland. So if you're up there and would like to see a live stand-up comedy show and meet me, go to my Instagram @funnyjones. It'll have all the information, all the venues, the times, this and that. So anyways, I guess that's about it. I had a great time. This was a lot of fun. And as always, good luck with your life, man.